This one has a lot of hair. This one has a normal amount of hair. It's Pat and Alex. This one was born in Raytown. This one lives in Raytown. They opened a store in the pandemic, and this is a show about it. Hustle and bustle, hustle and bustle, hustle and bustle. Here is the show.
Hello and welcome back to Hustle and Bustle. I'm Pat Clifton.
I'm Alex.
Just Alex this time.
Yep.
Nice.
I was cognizant of it.
Yeah, you weren't going to be caught parroting me again, were you?
No, this isn't a formality. First name basis.
That's
Alex.
all you need. That's all you need. Another episode of Gnarly Hussle in the books here, folks. We've got a few announcements for you. The Gnarly Halloween coming up October 21st. Man, is it getting real. Right
Dude.
Around the corner.
Yeah, I'm excited.
9 punk bands are going to be here. 9. That's probably on average of, 4 people a band? 9 times 4 is 36. 36 punks. It's a lot of punks.
And one gnarly hustle.
And one gnarly hustle. So it should be a great time. I think that, whatever you would look for at a really fun event with a lot of bands, you're going to find here.
Yeah.
We can't officially announce that we have an alcohol provider, someone to do alcohol sales legally here at Gnarly Hustle, but we're working on it, and we think we'll be able to announce that sometime soon, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much guaranteed, but it's not guaranteed. But it's
not
pretty much guaranteed.
So we can't tell you that we've got a punk show where we're selling alcohol, because we can't sell, because we're not licensed to sell liquor, but someone who has a liquor license will probably be there to sell you alcohol at our punk show.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Totally legally. So that's exciting. That's coming up October 21st, 4 to 11, 9 punk bands here at the shop. $10 if you buy at the door, or $8 if you buy in advance, either at the store in the register or online at hustlegnarly.com.
/shop/gnarly Halloween.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. I believe in you. And we're having a costume contest that night, so it should be a really good time. Going to decorate the shop. Have a lot of fun. Also, there's a tetherball pole here.
Oh, yeah. We'll have all sorts
There's a
of
basketball goal here. There's cornhole here. There's arcade games here. Try not to have fun.
plenty to do.
Midnight Madness coming up February 3rd. You're going to save the date for that bitch. It's a nice and cold out February 3rd, except for inside the Kansas City Soccer Dome, where it's steaming with a lot of hot action.
It's warm.
It is warm in there. We're going to have 12 rugby teams, live music, vendor market. It's going to be pretty badass this year. It's going to be a little bit of a stretch.
I think we can handle it. I feel like I have a good grasp of how to fail at doing things.
Yeah.
So I just know not to do that. And I think the opposite will be success. So.
Yeah, that sounds pretty sweet. And we've got 3 weeks left of the River Market. So you can find Alex's lovely mug down at the River Market for the final 3 Sundays of the season. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts? Final stretch.
Yeah. I think last episode I was talking about how I'm ready for the weather, and it took one morning to be outside when it was 40 degrees for me to take it all back. I'm not ready for it. I wish summer lasted longer. I would rather sweat through my underwear than shiver. And now, cold embrace is near, and I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, it's banana. Saturday I was outside, and it was 38 degrees. And then by the end of the day, it was 74. So it went from needing 70 layers to bikini weather. Because 74 by the end of the day felt pretty warm.
Yeah, and it is this weird transition area where you're freezing in the morning and sweating in the afternoon.
Yeah. Around the water cooler, we got a few things to chat about. Kansas City things. The Plaza has been sold. Did you see that?
Some firm in Texas, Dallas.
Let's start most importantly. Do you call it the Plaza or the Plaza? What did you grow up calling it? You grew up in Johnson County, so on the opposite side of the state line from me.
Yeah.
What did your family call it?
The Plaza.
Plaza.
Yeah.
I think that's what good people call it.
That's the only thing I would accept.
The Plaza.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever caught.
You never heard anybody say the Plaza?
I don't think so.
I bet people in your grandma and Marty and Peggy's neighborhood say Plaza.
Really? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'll have to pay attention to it
Prairie
now.
Village, they're saying Plaza over there.
Gross. The Plaza.
So it's sold to some people in Texas. Apparently have ties to the Hunts family. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But I also heard, I know that you now listen to Scott Galloway, but he was saying that something like 70% of the malls that are not behind on rent, suggesting that there's a lot of people that are like the owners and operators of malls that are behind on their mortgages because I guess mall shopping's down. But 70% of the malls that aren't behind also have a cheesecake factory attached to them.
Interesting.
And there's a cheesecake factory at the plaza.
I love wild correlations. Okay, so speaking of malls, another podcast I listen to, The Marketplace, they have this owner of a mall, I think in Minnesota, that they've been following for the last 5 years. Like every quarter, they'll just do a little interview with her and check up. And it's been a roller coaster for mall owners.
Oh, the COVID would have been
COVID was the nightmare, hell on earth. But then there was this random weird resurgence, kind of fueled by small business owners, people starting businesses and having products to sell, and then just a resurgence to retail. But now they're kind of on the downward end again.
Back on the fritz again.
Yeah, it is sad. It's because you get to listen to her and you can hear in her voice if things are going well or not.
Yeah, so do I still have to show up for this interview?
Yeah, the last one sounded just a little bit more somber than the last you have. So, but
malls are bananas. Because if you still go out to Oak Park Mall,
I don't think you would ever know.
You would never know that it's not 1997.
Well, I take that. I don't know. We'll have to see in the holidays. I mean, those are my best memories of the mall are holiday shopping and you feeling like you're in a 90s movie with everyone walking around in their huge coats and shopping bags.
Yeah.
I'll need to go back just to visit that to see if it's the same.
What would you do with the plaza? What do you, if you were these new owners, what would you do?
I've heard talks of the pedestrian only, inside
what's the
square
benefit of that? Just
I'm big on walking only.
Okay.
I think that's...
open container? What?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean,
what's the upside?
Anywhere where you can drive to a district and then walk anywhere, which is what it already really is. But I think it's just...
is very walky.
Yeah, I really don't know. I would have to sit down and think of the benefits. I just like parks and closing roads down for parks, so it's a cool idea.
Fair enough. What else do we have here? Speaking of malls, one of the stores you'd go to a lot when you were a kid, and at least when I was a kid, was Abercrombie and Fitch. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you saw lately, they have pivoted to, they used to be camping and hiking and outdoor wear, but that was the streetwear version of that. So everybody wore their polos and their button-up shirts and their t-shirts and their graphic tees and their khakis. And now they're pivoting to replica vintage.
Real replica vintage.
And dumping all the money into Instagram so that you and I and everybody else sees it.
Yeah, I'm curious if anybody else has been just swamped with these ads.
It's a Mitchell and S type, pivot.
Mostly crew necks. I get most of the crew necks.
I think they're dope. The Kansas City Chiefs one looks sick. It looks like the 1993 Chiefs AFC West championship sweatshirt or something. I'm sure they're replicating real ones. But.
So I think this is kind of harks back to our AI conversation. One, does it matter or not if it's a real vintage piece or not? Or does it matter or not if you can tell if it's a new fake of a vintage or if it's a vintage piece? And then two, if you can tell, does it matter?
Well, okay, so this is a good question. So there's Mitchell & Ness and Gnarly Hussle. They're both on the same side. Gnarly Hussle is called Vintage Made Fresh. I think that's what their tagline is. Ours is Bangers on Hangers, right? And then I don't know what Mitchell & Ness's is, but it's something like that, right? There's Ebbets Field Flannel, I think is what they're called. So there's a few of these that are higher end replicas. Mitchell & Ness, I think everybody knows who they are, right? A lot of people know who they are. They're very big. Their shirts at Rally House are a t-shirt's $55. Mm-hmm. The cheapest t-shirts you can find. Chiefs t-shirt for Mitchell & Ness is $55.
Yeah.
Whereas the high end is probably $100 plus, $200, $300 items. So high end. I would say that's on par with a vintage shirt.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you cooler to wear Mitchell & Ness or cooler to wear a vintage? I think they're on par. I don't think one is cooler than the other. And I'll go a step further and say, I like vintage better than Gnarly Hussle because it's cheaper and I just feel better in it. And I can't afford $35 Charlie Hussle t-shirts, a closet of them.
Yeah.
But Charlie Hustle's fucking cool too. I don't think one's necessarily better than the other.
I think the fact that one is like a sports brand replicating what may have been past, like, I don't know. I think the fact, I guess that's a good comparison. But I feel like Abercrombie is way more fashion than athletic, and so it feels more like a fashion move than like
it's a hard pivot
than a sports fan move, you know? Like sports fans appreciate like, oh, this looks like that and like that player, where this is more, I think, targeting people who maybe don't really follow sports but want to hop onto the sports like vintage trend.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They are cool, and I'm sure they're really comfortable and they're really quality. But I would feel like a poser wearing like a shirt made in 2023 that has like 1982 Division II championships on it.
Well, that's what people are wearing all the time. We buy them, right? Like I bought a Purple Rain T-shirt. Someone came in and sold it the other day. It's not a original Purple Rain Prince T-shirt.
Yeah,
but it will sell off our racks for $8 easy.
Yeah. That's true.
And it's a complete and utter replica. So, like, I don't know. I wouldn't wear that. Like, there's a line on the spectrum. But quality is there. So, for me, like, Mitchell and Ness, the quality is inarguable. It seems like you would agree Mitchell and Ness, if a guy's walking down the street, you might say that guy has some style.
Yeah.
But if he's walking down the street and he's wearing Charlie Hustle, maybe that's where you draw the line.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
It's just, I can't put a word to it, but there's a feeling in me that would just be weird knowing that it was a fake. I feel like a poser.
I want to play a quick word game here. So Plaza. I feel like there's other things in the Kansas City lexicon.
Okay.
How do you pronounce this?
El Maguey.
El Maguey. See, I have always done that, but have you ever heard El Maguey?
No, I haven't.
You never heard that?
El Maguey,
You
no.
never heard an alternative?
Well, I take that back. Maybe, but never like serious, ironically. Do people pronounce that as like that's what they believe it's called?
I think that, yes. You think that it's definitively El Maguey and there's no room for another enunciation?
Well, like if it like that would be like, let's go to Wally World. Like that's not, I guess, like a good... The Tarjay. That's not how it's pronounced, but people still say, let's go to Tarjay.
Right, but I'm asking you what you think it actually. So you're saying, do you think people are saying El Maguey?
That's what I would assume.
Oh,
that's what I would assume.
It's like a joke. Okay. What about this one?
Nevada.
Okay.
Not. Are you saying it's supposed to be Nevada?
If you drive an hour and 15 minutes south of here, they're going to say Nevada.
Nevada? That's way more fun. I changed my mind. Nevada.
Because Nevada, Missouri is spelled like Nevada, the state, but pronounced Nevada.
Oh, never mind. I take that back. I have issues with small cities pretending to be other big cities or states.
Okay. Well, in that same vein, how do you pronounce this? This might actually be good because I'm not sure you know how to pronounce it.
Versailles?
Have you heard of the Treaty of Versailles?
Oh shit! Yeah, no, I would have never.
That's
okay.
how you actually say it in French.
Okay.
But in Missouri, it's Versailles. But you said Versailles, which was a third option.
I think that's a bottom lower. You go maybe 3 hours south, and they're saying Versailles.
Oh wait, I had World War II.
Fuck.
Oh wait, yeah. What was it? Oh, this one. Think the dairy aisle.
Okay. Chateau.
Okay, see, that's what everyone says, but I think it's shadow. I think this is like a Joe Dirt Dierte thing, because phonetically, chateau would be like, that's, first of all, you spell chateau Chateau when you're saying like that's a chateau. So it's spelled nothing like the milk company.
Okay.
But chateau, like I feel like phonetically, SHATTO is shadow. Like shat. If you were to shat, like I shit, I shat, it's SHAT. Yeah. You add a TO on the end, it's shadow. Not chateau, just because everybody wants it to sound fancy.
You pronounce the T twice. It's chateau. Chateau. Yeah, there you go. Chateau.
And it'd be Chateau, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to find out. I mean, that feels like it's a family name.
Yeah, I would say that there's a right answer to that one.
There's an answer.
There's a whole bunch of people walking around that can answer that.
All right, well, fair enough. And the other fun thing in Around the Water Cooler, did you see, I know you saw it, but the giant pumpkin that a guy decided to paddle down the Missouri River?
Yeah, phenomenal. Dude, okay, so it was like 1,200 pounds. So first of all, a massive pumpkin.
Yeah, how do you even get that into the river?
I assume the same way a boat. Like, is it on a trailer? It's got to be on a trailer.
Who gets it on a trailer? An Amish village? How do you load a 1,200-pound pumpkin onto anything?
That's a good question.
You can't use a forklift. You'd probably stab it.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't. Professional.
Oh, you're that good?
But yeah, dude, and he spent 11 hours in it.
11 hours.
So that was the other impressive part, is that he finished his desired journey and like it all in one piece.
And there's no video, but they said that he had to deal with some of the, the Asian carp that jump out of the water.
Oh, for real?
He had to stretch the hat. Can you imagine floating down a pumpkin with just...
Yeah, if he didn't have one of those 360 cameras like on him the whole time, I'm going to be a little bummed.
Well, he's old. Did you see how old he is?
No.
I'm surprised. He's in at least his 50s.
Oh, dang.
Older than I would think.
Well, you got to have time to grow a 1,200-pound pumpkin, carve it out, and then drive to a river and get in it.
Yeah.
And
pretty impressive. So he went from the Caw Point Park, which is the one that's like right where I used to live downtown. Yeah. You can like look at
Lewis
downtown
and Clark.
Lewis and Clark, where they camped out allegedly, and floated from there to Napoleon, Missouri, setting a Guinness World Record.
Napoleon.
That's it. So, anyways,
dude, have you seen the movie coming out for that?
Napoleon?
Yeah.
Yeah. The director's cut's 4 hours long.
That's impressive. Is it all battles?
Movies, I don't know, but I'm really into these movies where you can go back in time and like look at history.
Yeah,
like that's my favorite movie now.
I'm excited. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of boring parts, but yeah, to be able to like visualize this little dude, out here being way better than he should be.
That's what it's all about. I do think he's just comically tiny in the whole movie.
That would be great.
Yeah. And then I guess that's it for Around the Water Cooler. How's it going around here? A lot of like we talked last week a little bit about our why, that we haven't talked about it in a while.
Yeah.
One of the things that was definitely on the board for like why we're doing what we're doing early on was community. And like we started this thing coming out of COVID. Mm-hmm. In COVID, you, me, Dylan, Ryan, really the guys that own this place, spent a shit ton of time together. It was kind of like our little pod,
Yeah.
And that was part of how this thing got born. And one of the things that we were eager to like talk about, or that was driving us, was trying to build community. And that just seems to be ever more in the, like, two of the podcasts I listened to last week were dedicated to it, right? Like Armchair Expert, which is one of the biggest podcasts in the world, had the Surgeon General for the United States on, right?
Yep.
Surgeon General on. Did you listen to that one?
No, but I've listened to him and a couple others, and I've like read parts of the report he put out like a month ago. So like he's been in the loop.
It's basically saying that this is like the new epidemic that we're dealing with is loneliness and like the knock-on effects from it. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, good time to bring it back up and maybe talk about.
Yeah, because it's like I've probably gone months, maybe months, without like really consciously diving back into that like why, and just been focused on like the here and now and getting Gnarly Hussle.
I think that's worth talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like when we first started, we opened this thing, and one of the first things we did was we started trying to build community, like getting people to come here and have a good time here. Uh-huh. We started running potlucks and trying to basically just throw parties, and that made sense for a while. But like, I think with anything, when you start, there's a lot of enthusiasm, like a honeymoon period. And then when it's a business, it's like, all right, at some point you got to make some fucking money and move some like tangible KPIs forward. Like how much money are you bringing in? And you have to shift your focus to that. So we really kind of did. So like I would say in the last year, instead of worrying about trying to build community, we were focused on trying to build sales. And so instead of the events that we were here running around here being community driven necessarily, they were sales driven. Whereas early on, we were just trying to throw parties. I think that was a natural progression, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I would agree. And like all things, it's a pendulum on a spectrum. So like I think we started too far
in one side,
and then like you get a check from reality, and you overcorrect and you swing too far.
Right.
And so now the goal is, when you eventually try and make your way back and find the medium, that when you overcorrect, it's less so than from where you originally started. And I think that's what we're doing. Like I think we have a more manageable grasp on what it actually takes to run successful events and parties.
Yeah.
And like the minimum, like you got to have a minimum amount of infrastructure in order to make money and an ROI off of those activities in order to perpetuate them. It's useless if you can't make money from them to have them and just waste money on them. Not sustainable. So I guess that's been a big thing, is sustainability.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we kind of like, I think underestimated how easy it would be to get community built. Does that make sense? Like, I think early on we thought we could just like create a fun vibe and a fun space and have fun as fun people, and then it would just attract people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like, okay, people are starving for interaction. But then like, I think, remember in COVID when you couldn't find anything in the world to do? Mm-hmm. And now you kind of almost forgot what it was like to like just barely be able to breathe through your day and like have 2 minutes for yourself. And now everyone like flooded back to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone's way over scheduled. Everyone's way over everything. So even though we all appreciated in COVID how much we needed social interaction, and how I don't think that that's changed. I don't think anybody thinks that's changed now. I think that like maybe how much we prioritize it has changed a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yes. I guess like two things. One, our biggest mistake was thinking that everyone would flock to the thing that was still in our head.
Which was?
Like, what would the end product of what this place will be?
Right, and it's not that yet.
Yes. And so like it's easy. Like it's like
we were looking through like goggles with like a whole bunch of like augmented reality of the future, and everybody else was just looking at the present.
Yeah. So like that makes more sense to me. Like that's just the thing. Everyone will think you're crazy because they don't see what's in your head until it's built. But the people who do, like there's few people who do see it, and like more and more people see it. It'd probably be a good exercise if we just pretended we were first time Gnarly Hussles and walk in.
Right.
And like and there's different emotions than like surprise and amazement and satisfaction, and then like something like, I don't know, there's just different vibes when you walk into some place and it's finished, and like the vision is complete and presented to you, and you can trust that like maybe it's trust, like it just feels more complete. Like you don't really get that yet when you walk in. Everything still feels being built, which is cool, and like you can feel part of the journey. But I think there will be a whole different sense of like I can trust this place to be where I want to set my roots and build a community because it's built in here and finished.
I also think that is also like a huge, we've basically, we were trying to, all of our events have always had alcohol forever. We just couldn't sell it. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think there's a huge difference, especially the older you get, to being like, hey, let's go over to my buddy Scott's house and have some drinks in his backyard, to let's go to a bar and have a few drinks at a bar. Going to a bar seems like a safe space. It seems socially less invasive, less like pervasive.
Yeah.
Like it seems like a neutral ground I can meet someone on. This is a place of business. There's a agreed social contract of how everyone's going to conduct themselves. It's a place going to be clean. I'm going to have a bathroom to use. Like this isn't some weird fucking party I'm being sucked into.
Yeah.
It's just a bar. And if it's weird, I can leave. But like inviting someone, like, yeah, my buddy's having a party at his thrift store. That's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just a whole other social
like a couple
contract to go to a thrift store party than it is to pop into a bar for a drink and see what it's about.
Yeah, there's a couple more levels of interpreted intimacy between like inviting somebody to your store than a bar.
Right. And so I just think that like it's, once we can sell you a beer, it changes how willing people will be to come and have a beer when we put out a call to action for them to have a beer with us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I think it just changes the entire vibe of the transaction. So I like third spaces. This is a phrase that has been coming up.
Yeah, we've discussed it a little bit. You're the one who like first brought it to my attention, but in the last 2 weeks, I've heard that term brought up more and more than I have in the last 12 months.
So third spaces, when I think of third spaces, I think of like the Max on Saved by the Bell, right? This is where the kids would go and hang out after school. What did they have at the Max? Food and drink. That's the closest thing to beer that teenagers can have is food and drink.
Yeah.
I think of in Roseanne, it was what was the fucking Lanford Inn or what it was? It was the bar that they would always go to. And all these the third spaces movies and television are like what life was like in our 80s and 90s and 2000s, curated and thrown back at us, right? Like what we wanted everyone to believe life was like. So that's how I'm thinking of it. Third spaces my entire life. It's hard to imagine many third spaces where it was a store or a retail space.
Yeah.
It's usually a place of consumption, whether it be food or alcohol, and not often a store. Like I can think of like Home Improvement and the hardware store.
Yeah.
Guys would just go stand around and talk and not buy anything. We have people who do that. We have some people who come in here for that community. And early on, I'll be honest, I didn't like some of those people. I still don't like some of those people.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily that's what they come, because some of them I do like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's just, I don't know. It's bars are communities. It's obvious. Churches are communities. It's obvious. They exist as such. Thrift stores, not so much.
Yeah.
Vintage stores, not so much. So, I don't know. Like, we realized if community is kind of like something we want to do, and it is something we want to do, because we keep running events without alcohol, you know what I mean? Where we can't sell it. Am I making any sense here?
Yeah, no, I mean, I never really thought of it like under that guy's looking outside in, like clothes were a good way to keep the doors open and sustain the place as we built something that costs more money to build a community around.
Right.
But it also, like painted, it labeled us, like not a bad thing, but labeled us like a retail store.
Right.
Which is, I guess, a difficult label to build a gathering place around.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be easier once there is like the real bar. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think that will be a challenge. I think also we have overlooked.
We've become it more, like with putting the basketball goal. We are a third space for some kids in the neighborhood.
Yes.
There are kids that come by looking for you, or come by looking for water, or come by, and we are a third space. There's some families who like come in here and just like they'll play video games, play the arcade games. They look around, and this is like, even if they buy nothing, coming here is an activity that they may do once a month or So it is a thing. It is it's growing, but it just, I don't know. We want to open a bar. We've been talking about it for 2 years. We have people come in and ask us about it all the time. We see that as a jumping off point to really build a true community around.
Yeah.
But I would say that we have more of a community now than I would have guessed. 6 potlucks in.
That's I think I would agree with that. It's been like a different journey, like really understanding what it means to have a customer and then have like start to build a community.
Right.
Because there's a difference. Like you can have loyal customers, people who, well, I mean, like just anybody who's willing to exchange their money for something that we're offering them is flattering, but like I think is a win. But then there's people, like a growing group of people who are willing to do more than that in exchange for like what we can give them, which is also cool and unexpected.
Bringing it outside of us, because like we've talked about some of this stuff, but like I saw this the other day. I passed it, and I don't remember where. I think I was driving somewhere up north, and it was giant pickleball courts, like a pickleball court set up, basketball court set up. Imagine all the lawn games you can imagine, and it was like, I don't remember the name of it. I wish I had it written down, but it was something like Family Social Resort, and I'm like, all right, this is. I just drove by it, like this is exactly what I think it is. But what, like, I've never been to a chicken. I've been to a chicken and pickle, but I've never like played any of that stuff there. And I've been there once for like a meeting, lunch meeting. But what I gather is it's just like a chicken and like churches, but without the religion. That seems like the void that needs to be filled.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how can you get families interacting? You could do it around youth sports. You could do it around a million different ways. But, like, how do you get families interacting and intermingling and give them a third space that takes away, whatever some of the negative sides are that younger people maybe aren't attracted to for those third spaces? But this seemed like a for-profit country club for families to like gather and intermingle, but it's not typical country club.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get real nebulous and meta and like maybe kind of touch on why here, specifically in this building in Raytown. Like, I think that's a symptom of a lack of those things that resort can provide being found naturally in the community. Like, what type of third places would just be in a small downtown area, like a bowling alley, a couple churches, a couple parks, a couple social halls for local, like clubs and organizations to meet and do business, and then handful of cafes and small businesses for you to walk around, shop, and eat at. Like, if those aren't present, then you have to like condense all of those things into one thing that you can, America capitalism, like get people to pay for. I think like zooming way out, like I think that's probably maybe a reason like to set up business in Raytown is because more than other places, it's like a blank vacant space waiting for someone to do that with. Mm-hmm. Like, I think a lot of communal needs that like you can serve through like country clubs like that should just be present in the community that you have to begin with. And so like I think selfishly, that's why I like being in Raytown, is like I have large long-term visions of being able to like extend business success and like start things like that in like my community and in my downtown to like make a difference where I live and where my kids live and where the kids my friends will be, or my kids will be friends with, live. Like, all of that I think matters a lot. And like I think this is real big picture wise like a good place to try and do that, if that makes any sense.
What's I guess you see, like, I mean, that is, I guess, how things in city town centers and community centers used to be built.
Yeah.
But then I don't know, I guess I don't understand necessarily why they all went away or where they've gone, but I don't know that there's a need for all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, how do you convince young people that they need a third space?
I mean, I think the same way that we'll convince people to come here.
Yeah.
Like, it just has to be cool and worth their time and money. Like, that's all it takes.
I think that's half of the battle, dude, honestly, is convincing people that, like, to go into the third space and to commit to one.
Yeah. And, like, you need a powerful brand to do that. And I think you need a historical reputation that, like, you are worth someone's time and money. But like, I'm also betting on it being a large overlooked need in our lives, and like you can just forget to eat vegetables for a week or a month, but then like if you go too long without servicing your needs, like things get too weird for you not to ask like why.
Yeah.
And like, I hope to be there with solutions to your problems.
Well, one of the I just like going to rugby practice now Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's on Park Drive in Kansas City, Kansas, and like you drive past these softball parks, right? And I have never seen them. I mean, I've seen them used, but not regularly. Now every single Tuesday and Thursday I drive by there, they're packed.
Yeah,
with like activity. I'm like, this is amazing to see it come back. And when you hear the Surgeon General, what was it, Vivek Murthy or something like that, I think was his name, talk about the epidemic of loneliness and like what we need to do to repair that. It's like building up these third spaces back in society where people used to go. I don't see people going back to churches. I just don't. I don't see en masse young people deciding we're going to go to church.
Regardless of your opinion, the data supports that.
Okay. I don't necessarily see them going back to bowling alleys. I don't see them going back to movie theaters. I don't see them going back to malls. So we got to create a third space or third space value proposition somewhere, somehow to get them out and doing something.
Bowling alleys are interesting. I don't remember what podcast I was listening to, but they were discussing a resurgence in bowling alleys because of like someone kind of broke it down to a business science, but specifically providing high quality food, drinks, and like just service entertainment while you're bowling has brought people back. Because like imagine every bowling alley you've gone to, it's from the 70s, 80s, or 90s, might smell like smoke and looks kind of dingy. Maybe there's a tacky arcade attached to it, but it's like you can envision it. But if you take that's, you just have to accept that's the problem, is you have to make it cool enough for people and kids to spend their time and money.
You basically just need to up, like, the dopamine that you're giving people needs to come from not just the bowling. It needs to come from fucking everywhere. It needs to be attacking you from every angle.
But I think most importantly, food and drink is a big thing they've been hitting on. Where like they don't make a lot of money on the bowling. That's not what that's not what it's just a restaurant with a bowling alley attached to it.
Sure, that's the money making side. But I'm just saying, is it a value prop to the customer side? Like that's what we've chosen to do in this entire fucking building. We have multiple putt-putt holes. Now, albeit we need to do some maintenance on our putt-putt holes, but we had like 3 putt-putt holes in our racks. We're building, at the end of the day, what we're going to have, what we hope to build here, is a thrift store that has like upscaled thrift, curated thrift, borderline on vintage clothing, so where we can hit both of those target demographics, that also has a badass book display, that also has like a throwback Blockbuster display, that also has like an arcade game room, that also has fucking TVs everywhere, that also has live music, that also has a basketball goal out back, that also has a tetherball court, that also has, so like now you're like, you know, the arcade bar, the barcade, that was one concept.
Yeah.
Right? Then the retail bar, that's another concept. Then the live music, like there's like 4 concepts or 5 concepts, 500 different things. The putting green, like you better believe me that putting green is going to be up to snuff when we fucking open a bar.
Yeah.
So you're going to drink 6 beers, bet your buddy, you're going to come out here and you're going to play 3 fucking holes of putt-putt.
So I just kind of distilled it in my head. We have to ease people's anxiety that when they come here, it's not going to be a waste of their reputation, time, or money.
Or social. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so that like if you come here, because if I bring someone to Gnarly Hussle and I bring 5 new friends, and it sucks, that sucks for me. So I've got to know that I'm not going to do that. That's not going to happen if I'm going to bring 5 people.
Yep, I got to know that I'm going to have a good time when I come here, and yeah. So I think, because I mean, like envision yourself trying to convince 5 of your friends, or even just your spouse or one friend, to save a date, find something to do. And yeah, I think that process just involves way more like little decisions than like I think I've given it credit for. And if we can provide enough value, it can I guess answer a lot of those questions in the decision making.
Or to even reduce it further than that, like we as humans, if we're the mice and getting someone into your store is the mouse trap. Okay, for a long time, it was a pretty simple formula. Now, like, there's like this mousetrap on our phones that like can prevent us from ever going out and fumbling into another fucking mousetrap. So now your mousetrap, like we as mice are getting a lot better about fumbling into mice traps. We're a lot less dependent on mice traps. We don't need them. We can get sustenance without having to risk, putting our head into a guillotine to get a little bit of fucking peanut butter or cheese.
Yeah.
So now it's a lot harder to get people to do it. So whatever you put on there, it can't just be peanut butter or cheese. It's got to be foie gras or like, so like we've got to have a way better mousetrap to extract people's money from, because people just have way better things to do and look at than they used to.
Yeah. And I guess like thinking back, we came across that realization way long ago. Like when we were first, I think, deciding on the layout of the store and kind of like how to decorate it. It was in the height of online shopping because it was COVID. And like we knew that in order for you to put pants on and get off your couch and go to a physical store, we're not going to be able to be cheaper and more convenient than online shopping.
Right.
You can find cooler t-shirts and more readily available to like exactly what you want online, and it's way more convenient. But like the coming here has to provide way more value outside of like the shopping traditional retail experience. And like I for all retail spaces, that's kind of got to become true.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like Chicken and Pickle is the new Buffalo Wild Wings. When Buffalo Wild Wings opened, it was like they had every TV, but they had trivia. They had things to do. Like there's trivia on every other fucking TV, and that was new. And then that like every bar got trivia.
Yeah.
And then this is just 20 years later. It's not that it is a novel concept. Chicken and Pickle is just the new proliferation of enhancing the mousetrap. You know?
Okay,
what I mean?
I'm thinking Chicken and Pickle. Imagine you played tetherball for was that like the first time you've played since we got it up?
Oh, forever. Okay. Yeah.
If you haven't played tetherball, it will yank laughter like from so deep in your stomach.
It is the most humbling athletic experience you can endure.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
You get the child giggles, like where things are like so funny you have to stop because it's ridiculous. I'm picturing pickleball, but it's for tetherball. And there's just half a dozen like poles in a concrete of like 20 or so people just whiffing, hitting, getting like smacked in the face or scoring. Like, tell me that's not a fun sight to see.
Now I'm envisioning like an Asian game show where there's 9 tether balls on a court and only like 4 players per team, and
you gotta run around
and you have to keep them all going.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about that. Like, that's a good point. Tetherball is just pure joy.
Yeah.
And I felt that when I played pickup basketball for the first time when we did it in that gym at St. Bernadette's. Like, just running and playing with my adult friends, I hadn't done in years, and none of them had. I felt fucking extreme joy from that.
Yeah.
Like, we could kind of deliver that a little bit here if we do it right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? In little bits and trips.
Yeah.
And people will buy that.
And like that's I don't know how to use the human language to like define it, but like that you can't extract from these phones.
Right.
And to like so if we could just figure out, like, define what that feeling is and like how to make it.
I think that's why this shit works, right? Like on Instagram, like you see someone at a bar and it resonates with you and you're like, oh, fuck, I wish I was there, because you think
I've been to a bar. I know what it's like to have fun at a bar.
You have no idea what experience they're having, but you imagine they're having the experience that we just described.
Yeah.
You attach that euphoric, I'm playing with my friends and having the time of my life feeling to that picture every time you see it on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like, you imagine that feeling that one time you had 3 years ago.
Oh, they must be having
amazing
memory.
When everybody was in town and everyone somehow was scheduling together and you went out and had that amazing night out. That was like, yeah. And then like you see a picture at a bar and like that's what you immediately extract from instead of like the negative things. I don't know. But yeah, it definitely yanks from memories and like experiences. I don't know. I guess like it's fun to watch things I've never done too, though. Yeah. But I can imagine like the excitement it would feel like to like climb a mountain or do crazy stunts. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
No, either way, third places. That's a lot of thoughts on third places. How's it going around here? Because we want to create a really cool third place.
Yeah.
So that's how it's going. Cool. Well, come back. Check us out next week. Talk to you later.
Peace.